Today, we're going to talk about the B word. That's right, burnout. We're going to talk about how burnout is an epidemic affecting women with very full lives across America and the nation. We're going to talk about not the prevention of burnout, but the recovery of it. Because sometimes we leave that part out. It's like once the cloud has lifted and she's going on by to see somebody else, and you're left with the recovery. How do I kind of amp myself back up? I've learned a few things, I've done a few things. Now I'm ready to kind of reset and resettle my life. How do I do it? Well, you're in luck because, baby, we're going to talk about that today. If you are new to me and this is the podcast, hello, my name is Chasity, and this is the Chats with Chastity podcast. I am a mother, a wife, a therapist. I am a woman with a full life, and I love it that way. I love that I get to do a lot of things and chase my passion and the things that I want to do while also raising my beautiful kids and building a culture, a generational culture with my husband as we raise them together. So you're probably doing the same. So thank you for stopping by. So when it comes to burnout, I want you to think about how when a car starts to lose, okay, let me just back up and say, I don't know nothing about cars. Okay. So some of this may not be true, but go with the analogy. Okay. Um, So when we think about the brakes that are a part of the car that help you to stop, right? When the padding starts to lose its grip, it's wearing down, and the people say you need to get new pads because your brakes are squeaking. They're very loud, okay? If you don't pay attention to the squeakiness and the loudness, and you don't replace the padding, the brake pad, you could find yourself in a position to where you pressing the brake, but baby, the brake ain't pressing you. The car's still going. And what happens is something from the outside has to stop the car in order for the car to stop. It needs an external reinforcement to get somewhere and sit down. Okay. I hope you never find yourself in that position. I hope to never find myself in that position. But sometimes it happens, right? And in that same way, that same token, I see burnout that way. That burnout is just a lack of preparation for a break. The padding and the squeaking has been going on for long enough. Man, let's get some rest now. Can we just get some rest? I don't want to do this anymore. And we just keep going. We don't pay any mind to the sounds that we hear. We don't pay any mind to like, oh, we're kind of jerking a little bit when they're trying to stop. We don't pay any mind to the lack of sleep that we're getting, the amount of like frustration that we feel. And maybe I'll say this. Maybe it's not that we don't pay any mind to it. It's that we don't feel like it's important enough to stop, important enough to take a break. Well, what happens when we continue to go, right? That break gives out, and we need something on the outside to tell us and force us to get somewhere and sit down. Typically, it's your body. It's your body saying, no, you go to get out of the bed in the morning. It's just like, we're not doing that. You go to get dressed and you have no motivation for anything. And we're like, we're not doing that. Like you can't even, the muster you used to have in your spirit, you don't have it no more. And you are like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get it together? Blah, blah, blah. That's just the external forces forcing you into a break, right? And we often hear things like, get some more rest, change your expectations, give yourself some grace. And you know what? I've said those things because those things are true. You do need to get rest. You need to give yourself some grace. You do need to adjust your expectation. But really at the core of recovering from burnout is resetting your system. So I'm going to walk you through some things that I have put in the reset plan for you. This is a guide that's going to walk you through how to reset your life when you're coming out of burnout, when you're coming out of overwhelm, when you're coming out of a lot of anxiety, when you're coming out of feeling like you've just been lost in this season of your life. This guide that is for free, you can get it in the link in the description box, wherever you're listening or watching. You can get it in the description box, but I'm going to walk you through how this reset plan can reset the system and help you to recover from burnout. So a few episodes back, I talked about, when it comes to becoming who you are, sometimes we'll start from like, who do you want to be? And that's such a big question. And it's like hard to come up with all those things, especially when you're in a place where you're like, Coach, I ain't got no creativity in me right now. Sometimes it's easier for us to start with what we've been complaining about. those squeaks, right, that we hear in the brake system before it completely gives out. Those complaints will help you fill in the gaps of what needs to change and what needs to happen. It's the same way kind of in this scenario, right? So being able to look at what is truly important to me right now. And it may not make sense to go through this kind of thorough analysis or thought process when it comes to like, okay, I'm starting to feel better. Now what? Because typically, okay, we just go right back into what we've been doing without stopping to do this. So it might feel like, coach, this is unnecessary, but it is though, right? When you're resetting something, because if you don't change what put the system into place, then the system is just going to keep repeating itself. We have a few examples of this. So when it comes to resetting the system, the first thing is being able to look at what have I been complaining about? What are the things in my life that I want to change? But what's important to me? What is what is the thing that you want to be a non-negotiable when it comes to how you show up as a person? Before we even get to how you want to show up as a wife and as a mom and as, what you're doing at work, as a person, you want to be more kind-hearted. You want to get back to that bubbly personality that you used to have. You want to get back to just being able to give without frustration, to give from like a place of just like hardiness. Like, is that important to you? Like another way of looking at what's important to you is looking through the lens of what do you value? And I believe the expression of what we value changes, right? Depending on the season of life that we're in. Like if you used to like to travel a lot and you got young kids and you don't feel like it's as fun to travel, but you still want to do that. Traveling might be an expression of a value, but the value might be adventure, trying something, seeing something new, being placed in an environment that expands your mind past what you see every day. That might be the value. That might be what is important. And that is something that you can do wherever you are, right? It doesn't have to be the next city over in the next country. It can be right down the street, right? If adventure really is at the core of that travel, finding out like, okay, this is what's important to me. How do I incorporate this into my life? What does this have to do with burnout? Well, remember what I said, burnout is the lack of preparation for a break. Whenever we are going, we have a misplaced of what's important. We think this project that's happening at work is the only or the most important thing. So what does this look like? Your thoughts about that project are running through your mind all the time. Right before bed, your kids trying to talk to you and laugh. And you're like, oh, dang it, I forgot to email somebody else back. Like all it's just in you. That's the big staple that's in front of your mind. And you can say, of course, that's not the most important thing to me, right? But let's look at your planner, your calendar. Let's look at what's actually happening on a day-to-day or weekly or even monthly basis. What's being reflected back to you, right? And no, it's not all about doing. No, it's not all about stuffing your calendar full with all the things and all the doing, but it is about saying, this is important to me and this is how I am prioritizing it, because it's going to act as a buffer when those really hard moments, driving moments at work happen, or those really challenging things happen within your family or other relationships. You have that buffer to say, I've prepared for a break. Right? So the things that are important to you, the things that you have been complaining about can help you figure out what those things are. And the other thing I'll say about that is sometimes we'll think that burnout is doing too much too fast, all at once, or just a lot going on. I got a lot on my plate, right? That could be a part of it. But also if we think about burnout as doing too much of the wrong thing or doing too much of the right thing in the wrong way. So how can you adjust or bend things, delegate, ask for help? Again, adjust those expectations. Absolutely. That is a part of it. But like, where can you say, the way that I have been doing this, for the past 3, 6 months, year 2 or 3, coach 5, 6 or 7, the way that I've been doing this has not been fulfilling for me. It's what drives me into this cycle. For some of you, that is the job that you're in. Coach, your boss not going to change. Unfortunately, they're going to be who they are. So it might be the wrong job for you. It might be the wrong company for you. It might B, that your perspective has to shift or change. But a lot of times when you're in the wrong environment, I don't care how many times you have shifted your perspective, it ain't gonna work. Okay? It ain't gonna work. So looking at the things, it's not just what's on your plate, but is it the right things? And when we're picking those things up from the plate and we're actually doing them, are we going in it in the wrong direction? So as a part of this reset plan, you have listed out some of the important things that are happening, the mindset gremlins that get in the way of you being able to shift out of this system and this cycle of you falling in and out of burnout, just in and out, hearing the brakes and ignoring them, right? And how to place on your calendar things that are important to you that you can prioritize to create day in and day out, week in and week out, that break that you need in order to eventually prevent breakout. Now, I'm not a person that is going to tell you that you will never be burnt out again, okay? Because in reality, there's a lot of things that happen in our lives that we have no control over. We might have a family member that gets sick out of nowhere, and that causes some strain with our finances, or it causes some strain with the way that we have to, pick up with helping them. And then the other stuff that we already have going on with work and home life, like it can just be a lot. And you're like, no, these are the right things. And I don't know what other way to do it. It's just a lot going on. And then you sit down and you're like, Coach, I ain't got nothing left in me. Those types of things, it's like, Coach, you can't experience burnout from those things. But how do we recover from that season of burnout and into a more prioritized season of life, a more prepared for a break season of life? I hope that you grab the reset plan that's in the description wherever you are tuning in, so that you can get started on creating this more intentional life for yourself. I hope that this episode was helpful. Please comment below and tell me how you personally deal with burnout, how you get out of it, how you recover. Girl, if you need some tips, you can do that too. We can chat about it. And I will see you in the next one. Until then, peace in, peace out.